And then we got the wig. So the horns are literally made exactly the same way as the spikes for the shield were made. Layers of foam, dremeled back, painted, and had a thing of wire in the middle. So the wire is actually inserted in between those bits of elastic that go down, and then wrapped and sewn onto it so they can still move with the wig. As you can see, they move some of the wig themselves if they move, but they're quite comfortable when they stay where I want them. This wig is it's either a Marty or Martin wig from Adhd wigs. I am definitely now converted to Adhd wigs because I love this wig so far. I will cut the lace shorter next time, since at the time I just thought, you know, I can paint it green and make it match the rest of my forehead. But it doesn't take on the paint the same way as your skin does, so that causes an issue in general. Literally just styled it as much as I could, the front bit, as much as I could to match his current look with his hair, because I was going for essentially just Armoured Bowser, and I coincidentally myself am a female. I wasn't going for Bowsette. I wasn't going for female Bowser. I just wanted to try an armor. Bowser seemed like a cool idea since I've already done Princess Wario, so I thought it'd be funny along those lines. Yeah, the wig is barely even cut. Maximum, I think I cutted some of the points to make them more pointy, but this is literally the exact same wig they gave me. Ugh. I haven't been able to figure out how to get this thing off, because that's the safety tie thing that they put on it at the weapons check, without damaging the paint job, so I'll do that at a later basis. So I'll do that at a later basis. PVC pipe, just all along there. The handle is literally just some of that foam wrapped around it. You can see the seam there, so that's nothing fancy. I did make a plug out of also foam at both ends to essentially keep everything in. I'll talk about the weight in a second. This was initially just foam across, but knowing weapons and how much they get damaged, I decided to also coat it in thermoplastic. So the first layer is Wonderflex, just purely because I had some left over from like 4 years ago. I still have some of it left. This is how much I haven't done armor and how much I'm terrified of it, because the fact that I had that for 4 years. And some people say they go through one roll of it in like one costume. So initial layer was that. These side bits, doesn't look like it, but they are a second layer of thermoplastic. That is the Lumiflex from Lumen's Workshop. I just bought some because there was a store available and I didn't want to pay the postage when I was at GammaCon. Yeah, you really can't tell that they're separate, because once I did the glue for the Wonderflex, because the Wonderflex is very sandy, Lumen's Workshop is quite smooth comparatively. It is, I will admit, it is smooth. It's a lot more willing to stick to itself in a bad way for me personally. Maybe it's just because I'm not that very good at using thermoplastics yet. But for me, that was such a mess that I really didn't want to deal with. But yeah, to smooth this out, that ended up just causing the different layers to blend into one. 2 different paint jobs. This bolt here, which actually sticks out, as you can see, is literally just, I got like a teaspoon, no, not even a teaspoon, half a table, like a tablespoon measuring thing I had, which was a perfect circle. Melted down a whole bunch of thermoplastic, shoved it in there, let it cool down, and popped it out, and then glued it on top. Forgot to mention, there is wire, like, going like that, through this pipe between the foam. I actually kind of wish I didn't do that. That was the suggestion of my housemate, and I swear it just made it so much more heavier than it needed to be. So much heavier that I couldn't hold it up from holding here. I had to hold it from here. So, in the bottom of this pipe, there is actually a whole stack of like leftover weights I got my housemate to bring home from his job at like a car workshop, which I just shoved in there. And in order to stop it rattling, I poured, what's it called? Plastic, or Paris, pretty much all the way up to here. All the way up to here, because it did start actually leaking out of there from the holes where the wire from this is. It is like a good weight. I just kind of wish I made it shorter for me. I think just, I find it so much easier to hold here because it's more balanced there. Correction, more balanced there. So obviously the weight is around about there. These are literally just the weird things that, I don't know what to call them. The things that he wears in general. So this was initially going to try being incorporated on the legs and arms, but I ran out of time. Plus, it kind of was making it too bit of a mess. So if I ever turn Bowser into a more casual cosplay, I'll definitely make another batch to go on my other arm. But these are just literally strips of foam. Now, in this situation, the foam clay works great, I think, because they're not so thin. They're, like, very pointy. Not pointy. They're very fat. They support their own weight. So in this situation, that foam clay works great, because I haven't had any tips break off. There is a little bit of give when you poke on the tips. Just the tip. But that's all good. On the wrist, I just needed the bit of Velcro and elastic to keep it together. Since this was on my upper arm, I have made a press stud, and that's one of the higher quality press studs that you can get from Spotlight here in Australia, and essentially just had it sewn onto my undersuit, and so that was just press studded on. Oh, look at my chumpy boy. He's so chumpy. Now, this wasn't actually initially made for Bowser. This was made for Princess Wario. I did initially want it to be a handbag, hence there is some very obvious patching up here, because initially that was a separate part, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get the part to just sit right and actually be a handbag, so I gave up and just made it a prop. Initially, I did have a cap which went on there to give it that look of the bolt that goes on the back of it like it's meant to. That just wouldn't sit flat. It wouldn't stay. I tried heating it, and then the paint started peeling off it, and then I just kind of realized I was running out of time. So this is also just wire going through it and onto the chain. This was literally just safety pinned onto my belt, because I couldn't think of a way to put it on there properly without wasting too much time at the time. Paint job is a combination work, is pretty much all hand done. Just nothing fancy. Just all painted and then sealed with clear spray paint. But I'm so proud of him. He is so cute. And I really wish I could have made him an actual handbag, because then he would have even more use. Now he just currently is a weird ball that hangs between my legs and refers to a lot of innuendo jokes. But that is it for my Bowser costume. I'm not a professional. I follow tutorials like no tomorrow. I improvised on a lot of things because Australia either didn't have stuff like that, or I just couldn't do it right. There are definitely a lot of things I want to fix. Like everything where you saw like Velcro just sitting straight onto there, I want to change that to like D-loops with Velcro and elastic or something, so then I could readjust it, especially with that shoulder piece, because that shoulder piece really got in the way when I had the shell as a backpack. Especially since if the shell was underneath the rig, I can see it not being an issue, but due to the fact that it had to be on top, it would push against it and then it would like pop off the Velcro. So having the option to like make that looser so that it didn't completely break off would be a good option. I also don't also think it would be better when it comes to attachments of bits that go around stuff, because the Velcro would just keep popping off. Hence, I did double layers of Velcro to try and help with that whole situation. But it just kept popping off. I kept reheating it to reshape it, to stop it. I even heated it and curved it over on itself, so it would be curved more than my leg was or more than my arm was, but it would end up just flattening and it wouldn't stay. Like, I heated it on the Friday night, put it in my boot, since I couldn't drive in armor, obviously. Drove to the convention, and by 10 o'clock the next day at the convention, not hot by the way, just in the boot of my car, it had already like mostly flattened itself back out to normal. So I don't know again if that's just cheap foam, Australia, or just I'm really bad at it, but that's essentially it. Sorry I couldn't record the progress in general, because I am a horrible person who just keeps cosplaying and forgets to record it and forgets that she wants to do stuff like this for her cosplay. Ninja Python was out. Aw, look at the little ninja. Ninja Python. Yes, I named all my snakes after Ninja Sex Party. So I have Danny Snake Bang, Ninja Python, and then I just have my sister's snake. So that one's not technically named after them, but I've given it the nickname of Eagle Rapper. Yeah, not as good as the others, but look at the little snake. Oh, he's so precious. Oh, look, he sees you. Oh, he wants a cup of milk.